Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us this Monday evening, August 6th. We've got a lot to cover here in the next 60 minutes, but we're going to begin here with yet again here at the latest shooting, this time this past weekend in Wisconsin.
Wounded people are on the ground, and the shooters are inside.
My dad's shot on the ground.
We always felt this is a safe place. We never thought this could happen ever in my journey.
We obviously had a senseless tragedy occur.
And those are the perfect words. Another senseless tragedy, another shooting, 7 innocent people dead, 3 others critically wounded after a shooting at a Sikh temple in Wisconsin this past Sunday. We now know the identity of the alleged gunman, who also lay dead by the time the shooting ended. Wade Michael Page, white man in his 40s, Army veteran, alleged neo-Nazi who had been the leader of a racist white power band. His weapon of choice, semi-automatic pistol with multiple ammo magazines, purchased legally. Officials treating this shooting as a case of domestic terrorism. You know, while the details are still unfolding in Wisconsin, we decided tonight we're going to focus on other issues facing America while the facts play out. But this much we already do know. The narrative stays the same. Lunatic with high-powered weaponry massacres innocents without rhyme or reason. Does this sound familiar? It should. The geography may change. Rural middle America one day, suburban bedroom community the next, inner city the day after. The venues for the massacres, they run the gamut as well. A movie theater in Colorado, a college campus in Virginia, a daycare center in California, a classroom in Binghamton, and the latest, a house of worship in Wisconsin. Like always, today, the day after, we grieve the victims, we curse the shooter, and we acknowledge the heroism that stopped the tragedy from becoming even worse. We've become so inured to this sick script here that we hardly even pause at the headlines of what if. Many of you may not even know, but last week an arsenal discovered at the Maryland home of a disgruntled ex-employee who was vowing revenge on his old workplace. And yesterday, a cache of assault weapons, body armor, and drugs at the Long Island home of a man who decided to bring a gun to a marina to try and settle a score. Now, these stories now register a collective shrug, as if, hey, we got off easy this time. Is this really where things have come to? Is this really the best that we all can do? Well, at least one lawmaker doesn't think so, and he and I are on the same page. Here's what Mayor Mike Bloomberg had to say, and this ad came out before the Sikh shootings.
I'm a veteran.
A mother.
A teacher.
We're survivors of the Tucson shooting.
Our leaders gave us a moment of silence then.
But they haven't given us a plan. President Obama.
Governor Romney.
We demand a plan because 48,000 Americans will be murdered with guns during the next president's term.
That's 3 Aurora shootings every day.
We need less silence.
And more courage.
Demand a plan.
Mayors Against Illegal Guns Action Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Amen to that. Now, I don't care where you fall in this gun control debate. There should be, at least in this country still with a toxic atmosphere, common sense for basic safety for your fellow American. It should dictate that this insanity can't just be left alone to take care of itself. Now, if the candidates don't have the spine to say what they'll do about it, well, how about us? Where is our outrage and where is our call to action? I don't know about you. Aren't you tired of this madness? People dying because they chose to go to services on Sunday or chose the wrong theater to see a movie. Now imagine for a second if it was your wife or your kid, and tell me you'd still say, hey Rich, what can we do? Now rather than being sad tonight, we ought to get mad. Mad as a nation, we ought to do something about it. It is way past time. All right, we are going to switch gears. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at what we've got coming up for the balance of the hour, and I'll give you a heads up. We're going to be talking about the election here, and you got Romney and Reid at each other's throats over this tax fight that continued through the weekend, with neither side here ready to say uncle just yet. I'm going to tell you how this standoff may just end, and next, we're also going to be talking about the wild weather. This is not an environmental program per se, but if you've been feeling a little hot recently here and you wonder why you got triple digits for temperatures, you are not alone here. And there have been natural disasters seemingly at all corners of the globe. It is not your imagination. According to a recent report, global warming accelerating, and as I said off the top, we are to blame here. We're going to hear from an expert who will tell us why this matters and why we can't just keep waiting as if it'll take care of itself. And later, the Catholic Church. It is at a crossroads, and I say this as somebody who believes and wants my church to succeed. But a recent report from the Vatican, it's going after nuns for promoting, quote, radical feminism. It says one of the many issues facing the Catholic Church, one of the oldest institutions in the world. Now, we begin our stories tonight, and we ask if the world's largest Christian church can move into the 21st century without leaving centuries of tradition behind. Can it afford also not to? And then we're going to talk about what an amazing weekend it was in London. We'll recap the Olympics from Phelps' final lap to Andy Murray's big hometown win. Got all the best moments for the Olympics. We'll bring in the table here and see who saw what that stood out to them. It's all coming up on this edition of RFL, so please stay with us.